Hello everyone, you are listening to Scenecraft. From opening shots to long takes and epilogues, we examine our favorite scenes from cinema here on the podcast. I'm Cody, here with my fellow classmates,
Mark
and Connor.
You can find Scenecraft on most social media platforms at Scenecraft Podcast for the latest news on the show. Today we'll be discussing Zach Cregger's newest release, Weapons. But as usual, let's begin with our brief What We've Been Watching segment, Quick Takes.
Speak quickly.
Quickly, thank you.
Quickly, come on. Hurry up, quicker.
Way quicker.
Okay, I'll say it fast.
What have you guys been watching?
Okay, so before we start, I just want to talk to the audience here, okay? We heard your complaints, and we are going to trim down quick takes. From now on, we have a word limit. It's going to be 300 words.
But we are going to say all of the words very slowly so that it will take about the same amount of time.
That's exactly right. Let's start off here with The Naked Gun, which was directed by Akiva Schaffer, and it was released this year, 2025. The logline reads, "Only one man has a particular set of skills to lead the police squad and save the world." So this film was directed by 1/3 of the Lonely Island comedy troupe, which is famous for their SNL digital shorts, as well as one of my all-time favorite comedies, Hot Rod. Cody, you're a big fan of that movie too, right?
Oh yeah, I love Hot Rod. I think we saw it in theaters together.
Yeah,
actually.
it was like in Jackson Hole.
Uh-huh.
We saw it like twice in theaters.
Yeah.
Didn't do that great at the box office, but it's still one of my favorite comedies. And as a matter of fact, I've been listening to their own podcast with Seth Meyers, and it's been a highly entertaining listen. Connor, if I'm not mistaken, you've practically blown through like the entire catalog at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm almost caught up. So Quaid Army, Righteous Kill.
There you go. So back to the movie. The movie is not a direct reboot or a sequel to the Naked Gun series, but it keeps the spoof-heavy, deadpan tone from the original films. Liam Neeson stars as the lead detective and plays the role pretty straight. It's kind of an homage to Leslie Nielsen, who plays the detective in the original movies. And I found the results to be pretty funny. Have you guys seen that clip of Liam Neeson? It was from a Ricky Gervais show.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about.
It's great. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was like the only reference I had of him being like a comedic actor. So it was really great to see him flex those skills in this movie. It also stars Pamela Anderson, and she really shines as his love interest, but also a comedic actor as well. So it was great to see her in that role. The humor leans into visual gags and wordplay, which felt really refreshing, especially during a time where I feel like most comedies are just action or drama films with a few jokes thrown in. This felt like a real comedy in that way. The movie is deeply unserious in the best way. It absolves itself from trying to be this piece of high art or anything other than something created to make you laugh, if that makes sense. There's a few sequences in one specific montage that really go to some unexpected places, which I absolutely loved. And if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. I saw this in a packed theater, and there was this one big guy, like one row ahead of me, and he had like one of the most obnoxious laughs I've ever heard. And it would be enough that like it would absolutely destroy and ruin any movie. But for this movie, it was like amazing because he basically functioned as a laugh track, and he gave the crowd permission to laugh at anything remotely funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was great to see in a theater. This is as big of a crowd pleaser comedy as there is nowadays, and so I have no issue in recommending The Naked Gun, which is now playing in theaters.
Awesome. I really need to get out and see this. Like shocked that I haven't already. It's just I haven't.
Yeah, me too.
Haven't had time to get out. Yeah. But I'm going to go this weekend, and then we can chat about it because I'm looking forward to talking about it after we watch.
Yeah, you would like this. Cody wouldn't understand this.
Yeah. It's not quite for Cody.
It's not my brand.
It's not for him. It's too highbrow.
Okay. Yeah, true
Fair
film
enough.
fans.
Too highbrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
All right. I'm going to change things up pretty drastically here. I also saw Eddington, which was directed by horror master Ari Aster. It was released,
we have to refer to him that way every time.
every
now.
time
Yeah.
now.
There's no choice.
It was released this year, 2025, and the logline reads, "During the COVID-19 pandemic, a standoff between a small-town sheriff and mayor sparks a powder keg as neighbor is pitted against neighbor in Eddington, New Mexico." So each year, I find myself drawn more and more to divisive films. I think it's been kind of a common thread, like my whole film watching career. It's just like now I've been able to really identify it. But it's those movies that split both audiences and critics. There's just something compelling about figuring out which side I'm going to land on. Do you guys feel that way, or is it just me?
You're Mr. Contrarian, so I guess
Okay.
it's mainly you. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I find myself more and more interested in like understanding what the controversy is and then figuring out what I think of it.
Right. Very well said. Yep. So we've discussed Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid on the podcast before, and Eddington feels similarly unique in that Aster continues to operate in his own creative lane, so to speak, and Eddington has proven to be just as polarizing. Some people hail it a masterpiece and others just cannot stand it. So personally, I actually found the movie pretty tremendous. Imagine a modern Western set during COVID times. Joaquin Phoenix plays a conservative anti-mask sheriff, and Pedro Pascal plays a left-leaning manipulative mayor. And between the two, I think the choice was pretty obvious for me. I would side with Pedro Pascal's character, but part of what makes the central friction of this movie kind of interesting is that it puts you into the perspective of Joaquin Phoenix's character, which is definitely a bold and potentially alienating choice. And this is coming from a person who still wears a mask to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
What makes Eddington fascinating is how it portrays the extremes of both political sides, reflecting how distorted our personal realities became during the pandemic, especially through the lens of social media. It doesn't take sides, which may frustrate some viewers, but I found it to invite reflection more than judgment, if that makes sense. While Beau is Afraid was abstract and anxiety-inducing, Eddington is more grounded and equally unsettling, but it's just challenging in a different, more subtle way. So if you're okay with being challenged by your art, I would recommend checking out Eddington, which may no longer be in theaters by the time this episode airs, but actually recently dropped on VOD, so you can watch it there. It's one of those films that I could just picture maybe one or two people listening to this and watching the movie and hating it, and then me losing all credibility. But
that Mark
I don't
guy.
know.
Wow.
I stand by what I said here. So
Definitely want to check this out too.
yeah. Connor, what have you been watching?
All right. I'll be the one to talk about it. I watched Happy Gilmore 2, directed by Kyle Newacek, which came out a couple weeks back in August 2025. Logline reads, Happy Gilmore isn't done with golf, not by a long shot. Since his retirement after his first tour championship win, Gilmore returns to finance his daughter's ballet class. It's funny I'm the one covering this because I feel like Happy Gilmore played more of a foundational role for you both. Am I right by saying that?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite Sandler film.
Yeah, same.
Okay. I've seen it maybe twice in my life, which might sound shocking.
Whoa.
Really enjoy it, obviously. But while plenty of people, rank it as one of their most rewatched movies ever and hold Sandler's 90s comedies in near religious regard, I was just never one of those people. And I think that should have been my first clue that this sequel was not going to be for me. Even so, Happy Gilmore 2 felt sacrilegious. It was barely a movie, more like a Netflix event in the same way the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight was billed as a boxing match. It's a total cash grab by Sandler and company. Any charm from the original has been replaced by gimmicks and references designed to appeal to as wide of an audience as possible. A celebrity cameo pops up what seems like every minute, and the script leans so hard on old jokes, flashbacks, and familiar faces that it just wrecks any sense of flow. At times, it felt like the story was actively getting in the way of all this like random filler. I remember we were actually joking we woke up mad the next day that was Happy Gilmore 2 after watching it. So we're all strapped for time these days, and to spend 2 hours on this just felt like time I'll never get back, unfortunately. I didn't think it was fun or funny, and it's one of the worst movies I can remember seeing. I know I'm being a total Mr. Hardass here, but it's a hard pass for me.
Okay.
So dumb. If you're curious, just rewatch the original. It's available to rent on Amazon and Apple TV, and a much, much better use of your time.
Okay, Connor. What was worse, this or The Electric State?
Oh, man, they're both awful. I would say this, honestly.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
This was pretty bad. I mean, would you both disagree with that?
There's very little like laughs to be had in this. It made me a little sad because I'm like, is Adam Sandler's comedy just, did like everybody outgrow it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like, was that what it was? Like, it just...
I feel like the comedy is different than
like,
the original.
Happy Gilmore was like
true.
way smarter. I think he's just doing something different now.
Yeah, I agree.
It was way more absurd, and the original was a lot more grounded, and so
it gets
that
surreal
right off the bat,
as well. Like it kind of veers into surreal territory, especially towards the end.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. And the filmmaking itself goes full absurdist too. Just the stylistically, like the way it's made versus the original being this kind of like couch vibes movie where you can just rewatch it. It's kind of chill, except for those peak moments of Sandler like doing his famous yell. You know, so it does reach certain peaks, but it's like a chill movie. And this is not that at all.
So stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I have also been watching Broad City, created by Abby Jacobson and Alana Glazer, and it ran for 5 seasons from 2014 to 2019. The logline is Broad City follows 2 women throughout their daily lives in New York City, making the smallest and mundane events hysterical and disturbing to watch all at the same time. I've got a comedy theme this week, so I had to include something funny. Have either of you guys seen this show?
I think I might have seen like one episode.
Same.
Okay. I missed it when it was actually on TV, but I do remember hearing so many positive things about it at the time. I've finally watched nearly all 5 seasons of the show. I'm almost done, and I'm so glad that I finally got around to it. Jacobson and Glazer have such a unique, chaotic sense of humor. They build on the energy of a lot of modern comedy series that we all know and love, and they create something really new. So Broad City takes all the great story-driven character development of buddy comedy sitcoms like Parks and Rec, Flight of the Conchords, Detroiters, and Workaholics, and mixes it together with the fast-paced absurdity of sketch shows like Key and Peele, Portlandia, even I Think You Should Leave. They do it all with a really beautiful female-centered friendship at the core that's based on the real-life friendship of Jacobson and Glazer, which helps give the show real heart. So it's kind of like Detroiters in that way. You can really tell that they're truly friends in real life. I'll also say that I can only watch one episode of this show at a time because it is a lot to take in all at once, which is to say it is made for a very slow, months-long viewing. Episodes can swing wildly in tone and style. Some seasons get very experimental and out there. That said, it's never a boring watch. There's always something interesting. It's just as often hilarious as it is disgusting. One minute I'm laughing out loud, the next I'm absolutely grossed out. There are some really, really great cameos as the show progresses and gets a bigger budget in later seasons too. So if you've never gotten around to Broad City and need a good laugh, I definitely recommend it. It's currently available to stream on Hulu.
Does it carry the same tone as the movie Babes?
A little bit. I'd say Babes is much more grounded.
Okay.
This is like really absurdist and very frenetic in its style.
Okay.
It's fun. I've been having a good time with it. What about you, Cody? What are you watching?
So very recently, I got the special experience of seeing Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 up on the big screen, but it wasn't just any, double bill. It was a special screening of what they called the Whole Bloody Affair, which I'll go into momentarily. But these films were obviously directed by Quentin Tarantino. The logline reads, "After waking from a 4-year coma, a former assassin wreaks vengeance on the team of assassins who betrayed her." I was about 14, I think, when I first saw Kill Bill Volume 1, which was probably, I think, my earliest Netflix DVD rental.
Nice.
And I watched it and instantly obsessed over all of the mythology of the film. You know, the bride, the deadly vipers, the crazy 88 in the House of Blue Leaves. It was just, it really spoke to my sensibilities at the time, I guess. And I felt the same way about Volume 2, so much so that I actually recreated the famous Two Pines Chapel oneer shot for a high school Western. Mark, I'm sure you recall that film since you guest starred in it.
Yeah. You were on a really big like vengeance kick back then.
Right, out of just emo teenager, apparently. But I remember like smearing mud and dirt on your face for that to like rough you up, make you look, very Western. So that was fun.
Right.
But these films they're two of my all-time favorite films. But I've never really settled on my frontrunner between Volume 1's hyper-stylized blend of kung fu, spaghetti western, and anime in this blood-soaked mayhem of iconic swordplay, and Volume 2's more contemplative, character-driven approach with concentrated bursts of action, using these intimate set pieces. It's as if these two parts were built for a greater whole to be one film, which was actually Tarantino's original plan, until that snake, Harvey Weinstein, pushed to split them for profit and, obvious runtime concerns.
Yeah.
Which leads us to The Whole Bloody Affair, which is a unified cut first screened on a 35mm print at Cannes Film Festival in 2006. So this is rarely exhibited outside of milestone anniversaries, and it's really only played at the theaters that Tarantino owns in LA. And I was really lucky enough to be able to see the 35mm print at the Vista Theater in LA because I happened to be there for work. And this was during a sold out 2-week run.
That's awesome.
The experience was everything I hoped it would be. The crowd was completely electric, cheering for Michael Madsen, who, sadly passed away last month, as well as a number of others in the film, David Carradine, Sonny Chiba, editor Sally Mankey. It felt like the culmination of years of fandom for me. Like, this is the ultimate event that I could have attended to revisit these films. And though this version is really elusive, any Kill Bill double feature on the big screen is well worth the trip if you haven't seen it in that format. And I just hope we get a chance to cover a scene on the podcast at some point from either one of these films. It was just so great to see it in this way, and thought I would just tell you guys a little bit about that.
That is so cool,
great.
Dude. Happy for you that you got to experience it and see it. It's like pretty rare air that you're breathing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and just the energy in the room, and just reminder of how much I love those movies and how much it like shaped my tastes for things within cinema, outside of cinema. Just so many homages and amazing needle drops, the music of it all. I still listen to like a lot of that soundtrack. It's just fantastic. So
yeah, well, next year will be the 20th anniversary of the Whole Bloody Affair. So
there we go. I'm down if you guys
Let's do it.
But,
yeah, absolutely.
Was it edited by Tarantino?
Yeah.
As like one piece? And is it seamless?
There's an intermission just to give you a break between
1 and 2.
That's cool.
The two segments, because it would be like a 4-hour plus experience all the way through if you were to just
Got it.
But there are lots of little differences between this version and the two separate films, because they needed to include things like certain tags, almost like a recap in Volume 2.
Right.
That
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's little things like that. Certain extended sequences, like a couple extended shots within the anime sequence. It's bloodier.
Right.
They remove the cut to black and white in the House of Blue Leaves scene because they were trying to avoid, I think, like an NC-17 rating.
Oh, shit.
It's full color and much more gruesome.
Wow.
Is it available to watch? Like,
not in a reputable way.
Oh,
damn.
okay.
No.
Okay.
And also not the official version by Tarantino.
Right.
People have kind of recreated it.
Interesting.
If you don't mind me asking, like, what did it cost? Like your ticket? Is it like a normal movie ticket?
I think it was like under $30.
Oh, wow. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I recall it being like $27 or something.
Yeah, it's like worth every penny.
Yeah.
It was great. Otherwise, I went out to see the film Together, which was directed by Michael Shanks in his feature debut. This came out just a couple weeks ago. It should still be in some theaters here and there. The logline for the film reads, Tim and Millie's relationship is tested by a move to the countryside where a supernatural encounter begins to twist their love and their sense of self beyond recognition. Together is a body horror starring real-life married couple Dave Franco and Alison Brie. If you don't want to know the premise of the film, tune out for about 15 seconds, just jump ahead. But the idea is that through this mysterious force in this remote town that they just moved to, this couple finds that their bodies are beginning to literally merge together. And this high concept film is really solid. It's sort of the opposite side of the same coin as Weapons in a lot of ways. Both are horror genre, obviously, featuring a plot mechanic where characters are forcibly drawn together, and both feature moments of strange comedy and tonal disparity. But I would say that Weapons is probably the richer text, whereas Together wears its heart on its sleeve. Its allegory and lore is a bit more surface level, I guess, and doesn't beg for as much introspective analysis as Weapons. But for me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just what Together was going for. It's still elevated horror in terms of style, but maybe it's slightly more tame and predictable than the crazy hype about it would lead you to believe. It had an unbelievable score on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
But overall, Together is a fun and satisfying watch. Check it out. It should still be playing in a few places by the time this episode comes out. I'm sure it will come to video on demand not long after that.
Nice. It's been interesting to see Dave Franco and Alison Brie make a couple horror movies like this together. So I saw The Rental, which was their 2020
that's right.
thriller home invasion horror movie.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
They seem like they're having a blast on like the press tour too.
Yeah.
They do. I was just thinking about that. Like all the like twin sweaters that they're wearing and just a lot of like fun stunts that they're doing to really PR this movie.
Yeah, they seem like a really cool couple.
Always great to see another entry into the horror genre where like these experiments can happen. It's kind of at the forefront of cinema right now in terms of genre. It's great.
Yeah, I think that's a good transition into our main show.
Absolutely. Let's move into our discussion about Weapons, directed by Zach Cregger, starring Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, and Alden Ehrenreich, among many others.
This is a true story that happened in my town. Every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
The logline for the film reads, when all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Let's first start with our spoiler-free section, as we always do. Mark, what did you think of Weapons?
Woof. I'm just kidding. I loved it. So similar to Barbarian, this is a very original movie presented in a unique structure. Cregger has a knack for playing nicely in the horror genre sandbox. For Barbarian, It's a woman stays in a haunted Airbnb, and with weapons, a bunch of kids vanish. But it's the way he tells his stories that makes them stand out from all the rest. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that this film is segmented into chapters, each based around a specific character. Normally, a movie is built around one or two main stars, but with this, it's almost assembled as 7 different movies, and each actor gets to be the star of their own little movie. But at the same time, they all fit together really nicely in the end.
Yeah.
And so by doing this, we get to witness the same event from different perspectives. But more importantly, it serves the purpose of providing a way to slowly dial up the tension before releasing it and then moving on to a different character, only for that tension to start building up again. And the result is essentially a never-ending pendulum of stress swinging back and forth.
Yeah.
In the best way possible. I was happy that this was a box office hit and even beat out Freakier Friday on its opening weekend.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
It is.
I like never would have guessed that. But Cody, you mentioned this before. The 2025 cinematic landscape is interesting in that horror is one of the last genres that is allowed to take these bold swings with original IP.
Right.
I think a lot of that has to do with their modest budgets, and the creators are essentially given permission to take these sharp left turns and really just deliver on unexpected surprises. And I definitely want to emphasize surprises because you compare this to something like a comic book movie and you wouldn't see these tonal shifts or narrative detours like you do in these movies.
No
And
way.
It just leads to a really exciting experience being in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
This is 2 in a row for Cregger now. He's 2 for 2. And so he's starting to feel like the new Jordan Peele, and that they both have backgrounds deeply rooted in the world of comedy and went on to become respected horror auteur directors. So it's really exciting to see. Connor, I know you were very nervous about this one. I'm curious. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was such a tall order, and Cregger came through big time. I really, really enjoyed Weapons. I'll start off by saying Barbarian was one of my favorite, most memorable and magical experiences seeing a movie in a theater easily in the past 5 years.
Wow.
I really loved it for how unexpected it was, like you were talking about. It was something different. Like you talked about your experience with Saw, Mark, back on one of our old episodes. I felt like I was really going out on a limb seeing this movie after how traditionally scary and horror tropey the trailer seemed for Barbarian. And I don't want to spoil anything for the uninitiated, but I was rewarded when it turned out to be a completely fresh take on the horror genre by subverting those exact same tropes every step of the way.
Yeah.
That's why I had a lot of anxiety for Weapons. Seeing Barbarian and falling in love with it on opening weekend, I felt the same gatekeeping energy as seeing an indie band's first show, then watching them blow up, make the rounds on Pitchfork, and all of a sudden every mouth breather from here to Lollapalooza is telling you how great they are after they've already become a core part of your personality. Barbarian was my thing, and I was nervous Weapons was going to be a disappointing follow-up to an amazing debut album, so to speak.
Wow. I thought you were just scared to see it.
No, I wanted it to be great, and thankfully I had nothing to worry about. Once again, I was completely along for the ride. I found Weapons to be super inspirational. From a story standpoint to the production design, casting, and world building, it's airtight. It did the thing that I watch movies for. It transported me. And for that, I can only be thankful. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And the more I think it's really something special that we'll look back on and say, weren't we lucky to be alive when movies like that came out in theaters? What about you, Cody? What did you think of Weapons?
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with both of you. As another big fan of Barbarian, I could not have asked for a more perfect follow-up from Cregger. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I walked out of Weapons and I texted you guys, just sitting down in the car. That was the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
And upon thinking about it, I still stand by that. I felt like a kid watching The Ring in theaters for the first time. It has scared me like every night since, just kind of standing alone in the dark in my house. I think about it.
Damn.
It was terrifying to me. And I don't think I've felt that much tension and fear curled up in my seat in a theater in a long, long time. There are a few sequences that are just so pitch perfectly terrifying with the most well-constructed jump scares you could imagine. But what is so brilliant about Weapons is that Cregger knows how to alleviate that anxiety instantly with genuine humor in the film, which was unexpected, and cleverness in its mystery structure. So you're not just sitting there writhing in pain and torment, waiting for the next scare the entire runtime. You can kind of breathe and enjoy the actual story and structure. And I almost think that the common praise of Cregger as like a rising talent is a bit underhanded at this point. I'd say he's now firmly cemented himself and his collaborators as some of the genre's most talented filmmakers with these two fantastic movies that will be talked about for a long time. I cannot stop thinking about Weapons and its confident writing, direction, its talented cast, its ambitious technique and structure. This was a total triumph for me on every level. Loved my experience watching it.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
So glad to hear that.
This is definitely one where it's squarely in like our Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Like we all agree, like this is, we loved it. We really, really liked it. I think we're all on the same page there.
Well, that's great. Let's go ahead and delve in further and move into our scene selection for today, which we're going to call Archer's Nightmare. And as usual, beware of spoilers ahead.
Is there anyone there?
Yes, what do you see?
Spoilers! Right ahead!
Thank you.
Connor, would you like to give us the scene beats?
I would love to. Around 36 minutes in, Archer, played by Josh Brolin, wakes up in his missing son's bed at 2:17 a.m., the exact time when 17 children vanished into the night, including his son, Matthew. He sees himself still sleeping, indicating that he's in a dream, and he wanders through his dark home calling out for Matthew. Outside, he spots Matthew running into the woods and chases him, only to strangely emerge back at his own house. Lightning reveals an AR-15 in the sky, with 217 glowing on it in red letters. Inside, Archer finds Matthew in bed, silent and blank-faced. Overcome, he begs for answers, until the figure turns into a grotesque, clown-like woman. Archer jolts awake, screaming.
Spooky.
So there are a lot of iconic sequences throughout this whole film. And for me, this one really stood out. It felt like a couple things are happening, and we can talk about why we wanted to chat about this scene today.
Yeah. I think for me, it's the pure efficiency and eeriness of its imagery without needing to really verbally provide any kind of exposition. It's just able to visually communicate that. Yeah. So this is 101 horror, tension building, storytelling. It also feels like a moment in the story where things really start to kick off and we start to untangle the mystery.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Centered to this film.
Yeah, one thing I love about Cregger after seeing both of his movies is how great of a visual storyteller he is. And we'll get into that a little more, but yeah, I totally agree with you, Mark. And narratively, it gives Archer a path forward. He's piecing together the idea of the children running off in a straight line to a centralized point. I think he looks up at the tower at one point.
Right.
He sees Matthew running with his arms outstretched in a straight line. He's curious, where's he going? Like, there must be a reason that he got out of bed and ran out into the night. We also get some character development into how he feels as a father to Matthew. Like, he's not telling him that he loves him. He's sorry that he doesn't talk to him more. So that's interesting to get that character background too.
Yeah, and ultimately also provides more insight into Matthew and Alex's interaction with Matthew in the film. So that's really helpful. And then thematically, this scene also provides a lot of rich iconography, I guess, for lack of a better term, and meaning that we'll delve into more. It also marks the second appearance of Gladys, the witch, in a character's dream, which lets us know that there's something or someone haunting this town that affects more than just one character.
Right, because we had previously seen her pop up
On the ceiling.
the first time in Justine's dream,
Yeah.
and this is the second time we're seeing her.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right. So let's back up a little bit and set the scene for how this movie was made. Talk about the backstory of getting Weapons made.
Mhm.
So it starts in a sad place, actually. Zach Cregger began writing Weapons while grieving the sudden loss of his best friend, Trevor Moore, who you guys know is a founding member of the comedy troupe The Whitest Kids You Know, which Cregger was a member of as well. And Cregger talked about the process of writing this movie became a form of emotional release rather than a career move. He wasn't chasing a story. He wasn't trying to get to that end result. He was just trying to get the pain out of losing his best friend line by line with really no idea where it was going.
That's so crazy.
He said Stephen King has this amazing metaphor where he's like, you need to be a paleontologist and you're unearthing the dinosaur one bone at a time, but you don't know what the dinosaur is. That's a beautiful way to create for me. Remove result from the process and just be discovery. And I feel like you can really feel that as you watch it. Like you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But at the same time, like you watch it and you're like, there's no way this guy was coming up with this as he went along.
I
You know what I
don't
mean?
know.
It-
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe. He's like obviously very good at what he does.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine what Cregger was going through when he wrote
Yeah.
this. But to put it in perspective, he's quoted as saying, quote, rather than going and drinking myself to death, I'd be able to write a character that drinks herself into a problem. I can take my anger and have Josh Brolin freak out, and that's better than me freaking out. So he channeled a lot of his feelings and emotions into the characters that he wrote for this film. And you can
Yeah.
really sense that.
Yeah. And RIP to Trevor Moore, too. I mean, it's a super sad story. Really sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And I guess after this kind of reconciliation with his grief and emotions in writing this material, Cregger and his producer, Roy Lee, orchestrated a really high stakes, I guess you'd call it a rollout for the Weapons script to get it to a number of studios, sending it to all the majors at the same time. New Line Cinema ultimately secured the rights for $38 million, which included the film's budget and Cregger's compensation for writing, directing, and producing it. And an infamous little bit of trivia here, Jordan Peele and his production company, Monkey Paw, were actually outbid by about $7 million to acquire this film.
Mm-hmm.
And around that time, Peele also split from his longtime management team, prompting speculation online that breakup may have been linked to the fallout from the Weapons auction and losing out on that because he wanted it so badly.
Right.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I've seen that like pop up in a lot of Letterboxd reviews and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Me
funny.
too.
One mind-blowing thing about the production of this movie was that Cregger had the cast for Weapons in place, but when the strike hit in 2023, everything was put on hold, and by the time the strike ended, scheduling conflicts meant he had lost his entire cast.
Ugh.
So he was forced to recast the entire film.
It's crazy.
At one point, Pedro Pascal was supposed to play Josh Brolin's role.
Right.
Huh.
And obviously, like, the cast is amazing. We only ever know
Yeah.
one version of the movie, but so interesting to like look at that original cast of what could have been and imagine how different it may have been.
Right.
Another interesting thing, the film's final chapter reflects Cregger's own battle with alcoholism, which he's talked about a lot, and its effects on his family. Cregger himself has talked about being sober for 10 years, and he actually lost his father to cirrhosis.
Wow.
He drew on the experience of living with an alcoholic parent and the way it upends family relationships and forces you to navigate behaviors you don't fully understand, specifically with the character of Alex.
Yeah. I mean, with a movie, I wouldn't say chock full of, but like with several really freaky and scary images.
Mhm.
One of the ones that stuck with me the most was Alex like spoon feeding his parents
Oh,
the
yeah.
soup.
Oh, God.
Which must have
yeah.
taken forever, by the way.
Yeah. Really cool detail there. It's like you see him struggling to open it with a can opener,
Uh-huh.
not something he's used to doing as a child because
Right.
you shouldn't have to.
Right.
But then when he is forced to go grocery shopping for more soup, he actually
Oh,
picks out like a peel off.
right. Like the pop
the
tab
lid.
version. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Right.
like a really just speaks to the detail of the
I
film.
know.
Right.
That's great. So, okay, now we've set the stage a little bit, everything that went into the making of the film. Let's dig into this scene specifically. We've talked about why we want to cover this scene, but what stood out to you both when you were watching this scene?
Yeah, I think the big thing is that all across social media, TikTok, Instagram, analysis videos point out like the major image of the nightmare, which is this giant assault weapon in a surreal way floating over his house. So what did you guys think of that moment? Maybe we can start by digging into anything Cregger has said about this particular moment, though I know he's notoriously tight-lipped about like thematic. Yeah,
he's been like, he hasn't really given a peep on this at all. I found one quote when he was specifically asked about it, and he said, quote, "I don't know. It's a very important moment for me in the movie, and to be frank with you, I think what I love about it so much is that I don't understand it. I have a few different ideas of what it might be there for, but I don't have the right answer. I like the idea that everyone is probably going to have their own kind of interaction or their own relationship with the scene, whether they don't give a shit about it and it's boring, or whether they think it's some sort of political statement, or whether they think it's just cool. I don't really care. It's not up to me. I just like that it's there."
It's kind of a very smart non-answer because as soon as you get those cases of filmmakers delving deep into their thematic intentions, it can kind of undercut the actual value and meaning of what you see on screen, whereas they should have let it speak for itself. So I think this was actually kind of smart to do.
So this is actually the main reason I wanted to cover this scene. I don't know what it means either. And like we've talked about on this podcast many times before, there are some things we see that stick with us because we don't know how to make sense of them. That's how I felt when I saw this scene. And I wanted to talk about it because I think this was the most evocative moment of the entire film for me. I believe Cregger when he says he couldn't explain it, but he knew he wanted to include it. It kind of does remind me of David Lynch in that way, like finding something big and letting the audience decide what it means to them. I think he's definitely taking a page out of the Lynch book.
Yep.
For me, it was something that literally hangs over a visual of the American dream, an American house. That fear and reality of mass shootings. And maybe I'm reading into it a little too much, and I know people have been saying similar things online, but I actually think you could read it two ways. One way is the fear of your child becoming weaponized somehow, could be representing that. Maybe turning into someone who would do a mass shooting. Maybe that's Brolin's nightmare. It might be the scariest thing he can picture, and that's why it's showing up in this nightmare. And here he's actually living it and trying to atone for it because we see him admitting that he doesn't tell his son Matthew that he loves him enough in this dream sequence. We're seeing his worst fears as a parent play out on a big scale in this scene, hanging over his own house that we can presume he probably built because he's a house contractor.
His son Matthew, from his behaviors we observe in the film,
he's a bully.
Could be the type of at-risk youth that would turn to that because of lack of attention and love from a parent partially. So that's a really great point.
So that's what popped into my head first. That's like what I took away and was floating around in my head. Or it could just be a simple way to draw a parallel between 17 kids mysteriously going missing to 17 kids dying in a school shooting. Whatever it may be, it really struck me as an iconic moment in a movie chock full of iconic things.
Yeah. Wow. Those are really two really cool reads. I don't know, Connor, maybe you could be like a dream therapist or something on the side. I feel like you've done this a couple times in movies where I'm like, wow, I never even came to me.
Digging further into that actual imagery floating over the house, we see the 217, red alarm clock style font on kind of the stock of the assault weapon. Let's go into that 217 number. I think there are a couple things we could read into here. 217, and some of these may be more far-fetched than others. It's just a little bit of research we've done, some original ideas we've had. But Mark, I know you and I talked about 217 being the original number of the cursed room at the Overlook Hotel in Stephen King's novels The Shining and Dr. Sleep.
Yeah,
and
right.
Right.
and Cregger has quoted Stephen King. We know he's a fan. This film feels very Stephen King-like. So could be a connection there.
So I had read another theory online. It was actually from a video from Screen Crush, where they refer to the 217 potentially referring to the Bible, specifically Matthew 2:17.
Oh, wow.
Which, once again, a tie-in that could be why Josh Brolin's son is named Matthew.
Yeah.
The passage is titled "Herod kills the children."
Oh,
so once again, you kind of have that imagery there.
that cannot just be a coincidence, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know that Justine is another like biblical name, and so like it's there if you look hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yet another call out for the numbers 217. This is one of the more, wackadoodle theories, but if we're talking about a prevailing theory about, perhaps a mass shooting metaphor, or that overall we have failed our children and they're being weaponized in a lot of ways, Gladys is literally the old generation sucking the life out of our children for her own selfish needs. If we're using that metaphor, there is a far-fetched connection to the July 2022 U.S. House of Representatives passing the H.R. 1808 assault weapons ban bill, which ultimately did not become law due to its opposition in the Senate. But the interesting little tie-in here is that the bill passed in the House with 217 votes.
Oh.
Is that too far-fetched? You can decide.
Wow. That one is interesting.
Yeah, it's out there, but
Yeah, I find the theory that Gladys representing like the old generation, like the boomers, so to speak, and trying to steal life from them by essentially creating the kids as weapons.
Yeah.
To be a really interesting read. Man, it'd be so fascinating to find if that was his intention when he made this movie.
for sure, because within the text of the film itself, she's like, okay, I've taken over these two parents, the generation beneath her, but that's not enough. It's not enough
Right,
for her. I need more. I need more. I need 17 children.
That's so many.
It's so, and it's
so many.
It can be viewed as so representative of this totally selfish need to absorb the future potential of this younger generation for her to stay alive and relevant and for her own needs.
So we talked about one of the biggest visual elements of this being that floating assault weapon above the house, but there's a lot of other visuals happening in this scene as well. So what else did you guys notice throughout this 5-minute sequence?
So, couple cool details within Matthew's room at the beginning and the end of the scene. But did you guys notice the posters behind Matthew's bed?
I saw one. Yeah.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
Fury Road.
Yeah, Mad Max Fury Road. But it's so interesting that this kid is such a big fan of it. Speaks volumes not only about the kid, but it was just kind of like a weird, oh my God, we're like old.
We're getting old. Yeah.
I was going to say how old we are.
Cregger must be a fan of Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, who isn't? But
Yeah.
I'm sure he snuck that in there. Did you guys also notice any detail in the framed photo that Archer picks up in the room?
Oh.
We could see two adults standing far apart in baseball uniforms, presumably for Little League, which I thought was weird. But what I didn't notice was that the space between them is totally absent of the kids. Like they're not in the photo.
Oh, okay.
And they
Right.
are probably in the real photo outside of the dream, which is why the adults are standing far apart. So that was a cool detail. And interestingly enough, in the script, there's a follow-up shot of the same photo after Archer wakes up from his nightmare, which seems to be cut from the film.
It says in the script, you can now see that all like 14 boys are in the photo. And I watched the scene back, and that shot is not in the film.
I respect that for Cregger because I feel like he
Right.
treats his audience really intelligently. Like he doesn't show us anything that we've already seen or could probably already deduce what it means.
Right.
So he keeps it moving at a pretty fast clip and treats his audience with respect and intelligence.
Yeah. I feel like we have to start talking about Gladys, who is the clown-like lady in the bed
So
here.
creepy.
Yeah, definitely one of the most memorable villains in a movie I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
She's almost like the more successful version of Longlegs played by Nicolas Cage.
Yes.
It's kind of like what I wanted his character to be. They pulled it off with this character of Gladys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100% agree.
And we can discuss Amy Madigan's performance a little bit later, but I just want to kind of talk about the look of Gladys.
Yeah.
So I had watched a couple interviews with Zach Cregger. He said the look of Gladys was inspired by Cindy Sherman portraits. Now, Connor, you're kind of like the resident art guy here. And so in our little peek behind the curtain here, but we include a couple pictures in our doc that we work with. Really interested to get your take on this because they're very, very strange and like these portraits that just kind of make me like a little queasy.
Yeah, no, they really do make you feel almost like physically ill just looking at them. So Cindy Sherman, famous portrait artist, so she'll create these like grotesque faces that have something wrong with them. Either like the makeup is really weird or just the lighting is uncomfortable. Like there's something that's just off-putting about them.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking at here. Like they have this strange, uncanny valley look and feel. It almost reminds us of that like terrifying jump scare, distorted face from David Lynch's Inland Empire that haunts my dreams. I absolutely hate it. It reminded me a lot of that too.
The jump scare, yeah, absolutely. And then as far as like the clothes that Gladys wears, they're apparently inspired by a photography book called Shtetl in the Sun, which it focuses around a bunch of retired people and basically like old people living in Boca Raton, and it just shows their like outlandish sense of style. It's a really interesting book. I got to see a couple pages from it when I was researching more about it, but
interesting.
You could tell a lot of the looks that she features in this movie are kind of inspired from that. So definitely look that up as well.
Yeah, they're like absolutely of a certain time and place. And if we think about her being a witch who's maybe been around for like hundreds of years or something, I don't know, she's wearing clothes trying to fit in the modern era, but they're clearly from a different time period that's older and out of place in modern society.
Right.
I love the line, just switching to a different scene really quick, where she asks for a bowl of water to drink from.
Yeah.
And Benedict Wong's character is like, what the fuck? And she says something like, I don't, it's a peculiarity. I don't even bother to explain myself anymore.
Yeah, I loved that.
That rings as like, not only someone who's up there in age in like our current environment, like I'm just the way I am and I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
It could also be applied to a witch that's like 200 years old because it's like, but also she just needed it to do her little, ritual. So
so true.
I loved, that was like one of my favorite lines in the movie.
So I have to ask about this, Mark. I know it's not necessarily present in this scene, but we do see Gladys's eyes kind of open really wide, and eyes are a thing that appears later in the movie where the characters who are infected have these like bug eyes.
Yeah.
Can we get a quick doctor's note on this eyes thing?
Oh.
Yeah, let's get a doctor's note.
Is there a doctor in the house?
Yeah. So I once again, I was reading a couple interviews from Cregger, and he had mentioned that Graves' disease was an inspiration for the bulging eyes look. And the medical term, or one of the medical terms for it, is proptosis. That's the really characteristic look that you'll see in some advanced forms of Graves' disease. And one of the byproducts of this is inflammation surrounding the eye sockets. So it just takes up physical space, and that actually causes the eyeballs to bulge out in a very distinct manner.
It's so jarring looking.
When you first see Benedict Wong, afflicted by this curse, it is genuinely one of the scariest images. Like, I don't know how they quite pulled it off with him.
I don't either.
Or if that's him.
I heard it was digital.
Oh, really?
Okay, that would explain it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
It does give it that uncanny look, but at the same time, because it was digital, I think it also just kind of fools our brain into just knowing something doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah.
And that's just on top of the fact that it's like horrifying.
Ugh. Well, okay. Thanks for indulging us on that. I was just curious.
Yeah, of course.
Well, moving into another visual category, which I think we can all agree is not only critical for the scene in question, but the film as a whole and multiple tense horror sequences. And that is editing, which was led by editor Joe Murphy. He and his team did such a phenomenal job. I can't even begin to describe, but the precise timing of the scares is, I think, what's most impressive here. Weapons uses editing to expertly modulate the buildup and payoff in its jump scare sequences. Each scare is perfectly crafted, some moments employing this like slow burn of tension, excruciatingly long, such as the car sequence with the mother, Alex's mother, kind of coming out and walking very creepily and slowly. That was probably the scariest sequence in the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
But in this sequence, particularly with Archer leaning towards Matthew in bed and just kind of the reverse shot, it's not the cadence I think that you would expect while watching a typical conversation reverse shot. It's cut in a very intentionally kind of like off kilter way where that jump scare catches you out of nowhere. And I don't know about you guys, I was sort of like shifting my eyes to the background behind Archer, wondering if like something was going to come out of the closet just because of the way it's framed.
Right.
And no, they just utilize this excellent editing to pull off this, amazing scare that I'll probably think about for many, many years. Just like I thought about the, when I saw her face ring moment.
Oh, God.
If you guys remember that
is
one.
like the scariest jump scare ever for me.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is up there with the best of them and lifts you right out of your seat. It was always so well earned, and just like editorial on this film was pitch perfect.
I love that you brought that up because some jump scares seem like they're like almost scientifically put together just to rattle you for no reason, like a cat jumping out of a closet or something. But instead, this is like one of the first glimpses. It's not the first, but one of the first glimpses we get of Gladys, even though we don't know who she is yet or how she plays into the story. And I feel like by including that, it invites and it also enriches a second viewing of this movie.
Totally.
And I think this skilled editorial also ties in with the fact that this entire film was photoboarded by Cregger. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
right.
He said that was a major way that they were able to stay within budget because they didn't waste a bunch of time with crews standing around while they're trying to figure out shots. He knew the exact lenses he wanted. He knew the movements of the camera. He basically had the film kind of playing out in his head before actually filming, and you can and it shows.
And I remember hearing him talk about not only does he photoboard everything, so he knows exactly what he's going to be shooting, but on the like tech scouts or location scouts, he'll actually go with DP Larkin Seipel, take like a skeleton crew, and they'll go like stage the shots or figure out like what they want to do on site in those locations before like all the crew's there, before the cast is there. And they'll kind of use stand-ins to get a sense of what the action in the scene is going to be.
Right.
And then they revise those photo boards based on that testing ground, which is cool.
And Connor, you brought up a very familiar name there, Larkin Seipel, who is a Scenecraft alum.
Yeah, it was so awesome to talk to him and to see what he's done since we talked with him.
Yeah.
There's so many stunning shots in this movie.
Oh,
and
I know.
in this scene particularly, there's that tracking shot where Josh Brolin is running through the kitchen in the dark.
It is so difficult to light a night scene.
Yeah.
And make things still visible and yet believable as like moonlight in the middle of the night. And Larkin and team, like his gaffer, whomever, do such an amazing job of keeping it all like clear visually, that visual language still standing out and feeling like surreal and trippy, and yet needing to pull off this technical feat of lighting based on like one light source, which is just the moon.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they did a great job with that. And a lot of this movie does take place in darkness, but it never felt hard to see for me.
Right.
Like I could always tell what was going on.
There's enough contrast there. You're seeing like shapes and silhouettes of people. And then in the case of like Gladys in bed, you get this kind of like light shining effect across her to create that jump scare, almost like headlights from a car.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. So in this scene, there aren't a lot of performances to talk about. We have Josh Brolin, we have Luke Speakman, who plays Matthew, Archer's son, and we have Amy Madigan, even though she's in it for a quick flash, the jump scare. But Josh Brolin did an amazing job in this film. I really loved his character, his performance. He has a somewhat scary or authoritative presence. Like I'd be scared to see this guy get angry.
Yeah. I feel like this is like in his wheelhouse. Like we've seen him play this character a lot, but that doesn't take away from his performance at all, because we also see just a range of emotions from him in this scene alone, where he has like fear, remorse, anger, confusion, all like within the span of 5 minutes.
Right.
So some really brilliant acting from Josh Brolin. And I think it also plays nicely because we get this reverse shot with Josh Brolin and his son Matthew. And because we're so locked in on like the repetition of switching from Josh Brolin's face to his son's face, and it's getting emotional because you can just read on his face that he's full of remorse. It's during that kind of hypnotic back and forth, we suddenly get a jump scare from Gladys. And I think it's that hypnotic quality of the exchange that when it's broken, it really shocks you.
Yeah.
Also, special shout out to Allison Jones, the casting director of this movie. She did an amazing job finding Luke Speakman, who plays Matthew, Archer's son. Mm-hmm. He essentially looks like a mini Josh Brolin. I couldn't believe
he really does
how much they looked alike. I loved that.
Yeah, and the find of casting Amy Madigan as Gladys, as we mentioned, who was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Madigan was known for her roles in Field of Dreams and Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
And as we've sort of alluded to, the rules of her witchcraft, her curse, are laid out really nicely, really simply. Just a beautiful efficiency in visual storytelling. And she pulled it off, just the way she does it so matter of fact.
Yeah.
The way she like cuts her finger on a thorn and has this very specific methodology of taking control of these people and weaponizing them. She pulls it off brilliantly.
Yeah, she really does.
So my understanding is that if she has a person's hair, she can make them a target. But if she possesses an object of theirs, then she can make them her puppet.
Yeah.
The only way you know it is from the repetition.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you see in the kitchen scene, it's all laid out in front of you.
Ugh, she is so creepy in this.
Yes.
Last thing on performances here, we do see Luke Speakman in the sequence where he's running outside of the house. We've seen that a couple times at this point over like Ring camera footage. And just wanted to briefly talk about the style of running that we see these kids doing. They all run in the same way with their arms outstretched, almost like at a triangle, or creating sort of this interesting like 45-degree angle. And just wanted to see what you guys thought about this.
Yeah. So if you actually look at the script of the film, there's a quote there that says, "They run like the naked Vietnamese girl covered in napalm from that iconic photo."
Oh.
So I would never put that together.
Me
but
either.
I think Cregger is referring to a really famous photo called Terror of War.
Yeah. Haunting photo.
Yeah, it really is. But he also has been on the record for saying that just seeing children run in that way just felt wrong.
Yeah.
In a way that just was kind of visceral. Like you just knew something was not right. And so I think that alone is really off-putting, but the fact that he was also referring to this photo is disturbing. And it also carries that kind of weight with it too.
Yeah.
Well, let's round things off and talk a little bit about some of the audio elements of this scene and the movie in general. I thought we could start with a little fun fact here.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Director Zach Cregger is actually a musician as well, and he contributed to the score.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What a talent.
So the score was composed by brothers Ryan and Hayes Holliday, along with director Zach Cregger. So I had listened to a podcast interview with Cregger, and he had mentioned that he was in a band with them in college. And so they kind of share this musical language, so to speak, with each other. Cregger would have ideas for musical beats, and he would quickly and efficiently be able to convey what he wanted. And then they would work with him, whether they were jamming together or they would just be able to create what he was describing for him, in addition to just Cregger writing and performing some of the songs himself. So really cool collaboration. And it's also worth mentioning that they collaborated with Cregger on his previous film, Barbarian, as well.
Yeah, the music here was great. I mean, so eerie and jarring at some points. Just really liked how it set this mood for the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of that like undertone
Yeah.
or deep tones. It actually kind of reminded me of like Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Dong, dong. Yeah.
Just like dark tones. But obviously you get like the really shrieking violin when you get the jump scare, which is just so effective every time.
So it almost sounds borderline, sound design versus music in this scene, in Archer's Nightmare scene.
Yeah.
We're getting a little bit of like ambient tone, but we're mostly getting brilliant sound design and sound effect work,
right?
That makes it so eerie and terrifying, because it's like in the bedroom at the beginning, you see the door kind of crack open, but everything beyond there, what we perceive as the audience, is sound design. It's like footsteps going down the stairs quickly.
Yeah.
It's sounds of the kid running on hardwood floor, and then there are very clever moments where the sound design actually cuts out and it's silent when there should be sound and Foley there. Like when Matthew runs back into the house, there's no sound of footsteps whatsoever. It's just silent. And that is what makes it so Lynchian and weird. So
I felt that especially when the assault weapon is like floating there in the sky. I think we're getting like some lightning or thunder or something, but like it's really eerily quiet when this huge thing is floating in the sky.
Yeah.
You almost expect it to like be making a noise or something. Like a quiet gun feels weird. Yeah.
Yeah, really loud or something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, guys. I mean, it's been very fun to talk through all the different details of the scene, the thematic elements, the performances, audio, visual, etc. I think what makes this movie so great is how much there is to dig into. I think Cody and I were even sending each other lots of voice notes right after we watched it. There's just a lot. Yeah, sorry, missed out on that.
Yeah, I was like, where are those? I want to hear those.
But there's so much to unpack and think about. And like you said, Mark, I can't wait to go back and rewatch this, because I feel like it's going to be even more rewarding having that lens now that we know ultimately what the mystery is.
Right.
Going back and seeing all the little breadcrumbs that are left along the way. And it is just a very airtight story at a visual storytelling level, at a narrative level, and plays out in a very fun summer blockbuster way that's also high art at the same time. So I had a great time with this.
Wow.
Yeah, well said.
This is just an embarrassment of riches in terms of scene selection. We had like no fewer than 4 scenes where we were like, do we do this one?
Talk about that one or this
one? Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for all of your thoughts. It's been so fun to talk about weapons. And thank you to our listeners and fellow movie enthusiasts for reliving this scene with us. Do you have a favorite scene from Weapons? You can email us at contact@scenecraftpodcast.com with any of your thoughts or comments, or follow us on most social media platforms at Scenecraft Podcast for any scheduling updates and news. You can support the podcast by leaving us a review or star rating on your platform of choice. A very special thanks to Jordan Summerlad for our theme music. This has been Scenecraft, where we break down the craft behind our favorite scenes. See you all next time. Say something into the mic.
Say something on that mic, brother.
Hi.
Oh. Hello.
Oh, he said hello.
Hello. Just manhandling that mic.